Hello everyone, it's Simon1010 here with yet another Doctor Who video. So yeah, this is slightly unexpected. Basically, a little backstory really. Content on this channel as of now is coming out very slowly, and basically I sort of thought, what can I make a video of that will be relatively, easy to film? And then I thought, well, why not do a video dedicated to my Tardis console room that I've had near enough 2 years now. This summer, it'll be 2 years since I had this model at least. So yeah, I thought, well, why not do a video on it, and just show you guys what's been knocking around here for, a while now. So yeah, all this video is basically going to be is just a little bit of a tour around my Tardis console room and just giving you a look at what I built. Basically, just a little bit of info. As you can see, this is basically my garage, and that's the Tardis Doors. I can't have the whole garage as a TARDIS, and I can't, like, bend it to my needs. So basically what my parents helped me do was corner off a section of it. So this takes up near enough just under half of the garage, which is quite a lot. So basically here are the Tardis doors, as you'll probably have noticed. This is just the doors. As you can see, it goes no higher than the police box sign. Basically this was done after the console itself, as you'll see later on, but this was made 2014 summer, I think. I did all the measurements myself, which is why it does look slightly more squat than the TARDIS is meant to be, because I had to scale it down and some of the measurements were a bit off, which is why you can sort of see that the dimensions aren't spot on, which does annoy me slightly, and that's a reason for the core box sign not fitting, dead on. It's basically like that, but if you film it from certain angles, it does look like the full box, which I quite like. These are just basically white sort of bed sheets, because they can't be proper walls, because I just can't do that, because that would be a much bigger job really, unless we were to corner off the whole half section as garage and use this as the doors. For the foreseeable future, this is what it's gonna have to be. The TARDIS itself, it's just I think it was MDF. I'm not too sure entirely. As I said, it was over a year ago now. So the only sort of proper parts that needed to be sourced was the wood, the pull to open sign. That is just the Matt Smith one, I think, printed out and laminated. I was going to go for the Tennant one for a bit of colour, but I thought the white sort of look made it look nicer. Actually no, I tell a lie, I was going to actually go for the McGann one, because I love the McGann police box. It's my favourite design, so it was going to be the dark blue, but I don't know, I think it would have looked slightly wrong. The window panes are like the Tennant ones, or like the classic ones as well. They're not the white paned Capaldi or Smith ones, which I do like. I think I like the white paned windows a bit better, but it had to be sort of like this because I wasn't able to get the extra bits to go around here, so it had to be the same blue as the TARDIS itself. That here, this is laminated again, or sort of is it cellophane? I'm not sure, but it's really smooth and you can't really see the light bounce. You can sort of see there, the light sort of bounces off it, so it's a bit window-like. I couldn't afford to actually use proper glass or anything see-through, so it had to be like that. And then the police box sign itself, again, similar sort of thing. It's been printed out and laminated, and as you can see, you might be able to tell, it is the Tom Baker one, because it's sort of a slightly squashed one. I just thought I'd like to have a classic sort of thing in there. And there's the handle here, which is I think through TARDIS Builders, which is a fantastic website for any props, not just TARDISes, but I think I found a link to that on that website. And I've also got another one for here, which I've never put on because obviously this is just a thin sort of sheet, so the screws would go through to the other side, so I'm still having to work out how I'm going to put that on. But I have got a smaller one of this for the phone cabinet, I suppose you'd say. And as you can see, it's supported by these kind of struts at the bottom to stop it from falling over, on this side at least. As you'll see on the other side, there are bigger struts that will stop it from falling, and you've got all the hinges as well on the side, if I can get them in focus there. So now it's time for the big reveal. This is the Tardis console room. Now before we go on to all the flashy lights, this is the back of the doors. As you can see, white as they are in the new series. At the top there, we've got one of the bolts. I think these are on the Smith TARDIS, I think. And the same down here as well. That's just to stop this door from coming open. I use this door as the main one. Down here, this is what supports it and stops it from falling over, as it probably would do, and these massive blue panels as well. You don't tend to notice them actually when you come in. You don't look at them. They are a bit of a trip hazard, but touch wood, they haven't been so much of a problem as of yet. So yeah, it's hard to get a good shot of it really, but this is the Tardis console, which has been knocking around for a few years more than the police box doors. These were done after the actual console itself, because I wanted to have somewhere to properly house it. And the room itself, it's, as I said, cornered off. There's a sort of shelving unit there that closes it off from the other side there. I would like to sort of paint it up a bit and make it look like, get the roundels there as well. That would be pretty nice. Here, it's obviously nothing too major, but that sort of stands for, I guess, the kind of bed that the John Pertwee TARDIS had. If you remember in Planet of the Daleks, I think it is, there's a fold-out one. But yeah, it does sort of stand for that, I suppose. Here, these don't usually stay in here. They're usually up in my room, but I thought, for this video's sake, I'd bring them down. This here is obviously the McCoy umbrella tag still on here, because that's the cover. This is a nice protection of the actual umbrella itself. Here is, I think I've shown this in a video before, this is the TARDIS key, which I made myself, which you can probably tell because it's slightly battered. And there's the sort of constellation sign on the back, with the chain as well. That was made by myself in a DT class. Yeah, it saved me a few pounds as well, because I think you can get an actual replica of that, but I quite like that. This here is actually, I got it a while ago in a market in like Spain, I think it was, and I just had a sudden flash to William Hartnell's hat in the Daleks Master Plan in episode like 10 or 11 or something. It's the one where he's in Egypt and he's got a hat like this on, and it looks pretty similar. So yeah, that's nice, I suppose. This I've definitely shown before. This is a 4th Doctor Season 18 scarf that my grandma made for me, and this is, I used to see it as basically the an Unearthly Child scarf. Obviously it's nothing like that. The lines are very small, but it's got that kind of blue or nature to it, I suppose. There's a trunk down there, nothing in there. That's something I made for a fan film a while ago. But yeah, it's a very classic looking prop, made out of cardboard. But that's a miniscope from Carnival of Monsters. And then this junk, basically. This is just random tat that hasn't found a place on the console, or I can't find a place for on the console. As you can see, you've got CD players ripped up. That I nicked from but I suppose it wasn't really nicking it, because it was in a dumpster outside the DT classroom. I do nick a lot of things from the DT classroom, as you'll see on the console as well, which is I think it's a can crusher that someone made, and I thought that would look nice in my TARDIS, so I sprayed it up, and yeah. I don't think you can, well, it's hard to do it with one hand. And then you've got, wires and, lights, stuff, more stuff. A gun with a ping-pong ball on the end, true Sontaran gun style, I suppose, from the Sontaran experiment. Taps, I was thinking of incorporating them in somehow, because again, it's like a Matt Smith TARDIS. So there's circuit boards galore, clocks, that is a fish tank, that is a green screen, this is a box of, Doctor Who stuff, I was wondering where all that stuff got to. But yes, obviously the main thing is this. The console itself. Originally, me and my cousin made a cardboard one. It was like cream colour, a lot smaller, obviously, because we were smaller back then. Yeah, it served its purpose as a TARDIS console, but years later I thought, no, look, I want to make a proper console made out of wood that's going to last a lot longer, because that was, it was getting very damp, and the panels needed to be held up by bamboo sticks. That was how soggy and damp it got. But a few years later, I thought, right, gonna make my own MDF proper wooden console. Got the plans off Tardis Builders. I sort of went, right, so what am I going to need to do? It has been, you know, things have changed over the years, bits have been added. Some bits I did actually keep from the cardboard one and stick on here because they looked quite nice and maybe did them up a bit, as you'll see. But yeah, I guess we'll just start from this panel here. As you can see, this is sort of, I don't know, this is the scanner panel really. As you can see, that's the David Tennant screen. It's literally just a piece of probably Doctor Who figure packaging actually, just stuck on over the top of the printout of the David Tennant scanner. These things here are like drawer handles that I got from Ikea. They were see-through, so I thought, very nice, I'm going to stick them on there. That is, I just ordered it when I was ordering some switches, and I thought that might be quite nice to turn around. It does come off very easily. This is like the fast return switch. As you see, you got a little toggle switch in there. I do love a toggle switch. That comes off quite a lot because this thing is very springy. The sort of motif of these panels is, I very much based this console off the Tom Baker one, the Leela kind of era, I suppose, and I think a bit of the 5th Doctor era actually, I suppose he used it in. I added these hex sort of trapezium shapes to the top of the panels. These are actually other drawer kind of handles which, you know, were being thrown out, and I thought, wait, don't throw them out because they'll look nice on the TARDIS, so I stuck them on. Over here, this is the most boring panel of the whole thing. It's got a keyboard on it. Originally this was going to be like white, and my brother painted the keys multicoloured like the Matt Smith one, but in the end I thought, nah, I'll just spray it silver and, you know, make it look a bit more uniform with the whole thing. That's the word, uniform. I think the theme of this is, the colour scheme I suppose you'd say, is white and silver for this, because the last console it was like the junk TARDIS basically. There was no colour theme whatsoever. This is all silver. Very nice to have, you know, the buttons and things. These are again sort of doorknobs, drawer handles I got from Ikea at the same time I got these. This panels are slightly more interesting. We've got, this was a recent edition. I have no clue where my dad got this. Well, it's some sort of sciencey model. I think it's of particles or something. That's very nice. It gives a nice squeaky noise as well, so that's pretty cool, and it spins around. So I like that. That's silver as well. It was originally like black with like different coloured things on it. Again, some more of these drawer kind of handles. Here are some Ikea lights that I think quite a few people use on their TARDISes. Basically they're so easy to swap the batteries. I just click them on and they go on like that. These are sort of thermometers from like the 90s probably. They look so old, and they're just stuck on there because they look quite nice. I don't know if they actually they probably don't tell the right temperature. And then this is something I've made myself. This is like the door lever. It's getting quite stiff actually. Maybe that's because it's quite cold in here. The joints do tend to stiffen up, especially on the main lever, which you'll see in a bit. That's basically a ping pong ball on the end of a dowel thing, and, you know, wood put together. I was pleased with how it came out actually, and constructed it. Although you do get quite a bit of paint rub inside and on the lever itself occasionally. When you're looking from far back, you're none the wiser really. And it's wooden as well. It's nice and solid. So yeah, this panel is a sort of communications panel, I suppose you'd say. You've got a phone. This was on the cardboard one. It was like mine and my cousin's favourite feature on it. It was cream on the original one. I spray painted it silver again to go with the whole theme of this console, and that's very nice. It's got the wire that goes actually underneath the console there, as you can see. So yeah, and then there's all the buttons there. They all still function very nicely. Two more of those handles. Again, I just got like 6, and I thought they'll just stick them on. They'll look great. Some LEDs from like Christmas lights. Underneath, there's like a load of just wiring just messed up, and I basically just switched them on, and they look pretty nice. And we've got 3 toggle switches. I do love a toggle switch so much. If I zoom in, you can sort of see it a bit better now, and they sort of flick like that. This panel, I like this one quite a lot because it's just nice and simple yet effective. More of these bloody handles, again, you know, they just look nice. And then there's these 2 rocker switches, I think they're called. And these, I don't know if what these are called exactly, these switches. I'm sure it took me ages to find switches like these, but I love them. They're so nice to I just love clicking them, and they're so cool. I would like to have them lit up as well, but yeah, I love them so much. They're just, now that is a switch. That is a proper, you know. And these ping pong ball lights, again, they hark back to the Hartnell ping pong ball lights. These were on the original console out of cardboard as well, but I think they didn't have the rings around them. These are actually curtain rings that attached to the pole. Instead of silver, I think it was a dark grey, but I wanted again the silver sort of motif of this console, so you know, they were sprayed up again. They have got these sort of LED lights underneath them as well, but they're not as bright. You can sort of see them a bit underneath. But yeah, I need to get stronger Christmas lights. And then this is probably one of the best panels on the Tardis console. Another one of the switches. This is the blue stabilizers sort of switch. They're blue. Boringers. Some more of the Christmas lights there. These, I can't, what was this off? I think it might have been off the back of that CD player I tore up, which you saw on the desk. But yeah, they look a bit like the 5th, 6th and 7th Doctor's TARDIS switches, you know, the sort of red and black kind of feel. That's compass. That was off the original TARDIS as well. And I just thought that looks relatively nice and neat, so I stuck that on there. You know, it's quite nice. That's a screen off a calculator. I did have an actual full calculator just stuck on the cardboard one, but I sort of tore that apart and I've used the buttons and things for different stuff. So I had the screen there. It's quite nice. It's like a bit of a sort of readout kind of thing, but with nothing on it. So yeah. Now this thing here, this is like a ball from a sort of squishy thing that I took apart. I've no idea what it was. The lights are getting slightly weaker on it. I probably need to work out how to change the batteries. That doesn't always sit in there. This was intended to be a sort of a sonic holder. If you put your Sonic in there, and as you see, it sits quite nicely. That was a sort of speaker thing. There was a speaker in that hole there, and I just cut it out, and you can whack the Tennant screwdriver in there. At least you can't have. It doesn't fit the Matt Smith one. It's too small for that. Don't think it fits the classic ones either. But this sort of sits in there as a kind of a nice little feature. Anyway, and that does sort of, oh, yeah, that does switch off as well. You've got another one of push lights here, as you can see. But this is the main sort of lever. I think I based it off one of the ones on the Capaldi or the Smith sort of console. The lever is they're quite stiff, as you can hear the creaking. That is because it's quite cold at the time, so you know they do tend to stiffen up a bit. I constructed that myself. I think I designed it myself as well. I think it was made after the door lever over there. I was very pleased with how it came out. It's a nice proper sort of clunk it down, that kind of thing. And it's got, I like the bolts and how it's sort of bolted down, as if it really is a proper, you know, thing that will set the TARDIS in motion. That's all the panels. As I said, I like these two, are probably my favourite ones. Here is the time rotor itself. That is a bin. Yet I haven't found a proper thing to you know, use as it. But I did try and make one. As you can see, this is the see-through thing on the top here. It doesn't sort of hold form on its own. It needs the bin there to sort of contain it. So it looks alright. This is probably my least favourite thing about the console. But as you can see in there, there's a sort of purple rod. It's a bit dusty up there. As you see, the sort of purple acetate rod that goes all the way down to the bottom there, which again I nicked from the DT department at my school. Yeah, I'm a rebel. But I thought I want something to add to it just to make it look a bit more like a proper time rotor. That's the main thing I would like to get to improve this, is a proper time rotor. If you look underneath, it's nothing interesting. It's basically just that's where the that's where the Christmas lights are. It's very primitive, but that's the way I do it, and it works for me. So yeah, that's it. That's my TARDIS console, and if I open it, I need to get a handle on this side. And the TARDIS doors themselves. Interesting video, I suppose. Hope you've enjoyed seeing around it. Hope you've enjoyed just seeing it. I know I haven't been too coherent